Before we start this what if, I know Alastor's way older than Charlie, so to make this work, we're gonna have to bend some rules a little bit. Make it so Charlie was born way later in the timeline. With that being said, let's get to it. Charlie would be a year old, and Lilith would control Alastor's soul around this time period. In this time period, Alastor has only been down here for 5 years. He's become quite famous, but he's been relying on Lilith for some of his power, and he doesn't want anyone to know that. He wants everyone to be scared of him, terrified of him. However, one day, Lilith would walk up to him. "You want to be free, don't you, Al?" Al would say, "Of course, my darling. Well, what do you want?" Alastor was nervous. This was the queen herself. "All you have to do is raise my daughter for a very important mission." Alastor would say, "What's that?" "To destroy her own father." Alastor was shocked. She would have to destroy the king of everything, the king that ruled over all, the king of hell itself, Lucifer. As Alastor would say, "Are you sure you want this?" "Yes. Once he's gone, I can take over. But until then, I'll go on vacation." As then she started to walk off. As Alastor was then given Charlie, and he was going to have to lay low and raise her to destroy her own father. Now, Alastor has done some sleazy things, and it's not like he's a good person at all, but he had a gentlemanly code, and raising a little girl to grow up and hate and even destroy her father seemed like it was against his code. But he was stuck to raise Charlie. As Charlie would grow up with Alastor would teach her, normal things, because you can't really train a 5-year-old to fight. He would wait until she was, a preteen to start to teach her warrior-like things. As Alastor would train her day and night and push her like she's never been pushed before. As every day she would go out and train. She would go out and do missions with Alastor, and she would practice using her magic. She would practice using it out on people. She would practice getting stronger. As one day Alastor would say, "If you want to fight this person, you have to be ruthless. If you want to overthrow the king himself, you have to be ruthless. Do you understand me?" Charlie would say, "Yes, father." As Alastor was shocked, he never made her call her father once. He was a bit hesitant now. He was getting attached, but he had to blow this over. As Alastor would say, "All right, then follow me. It's time to show me how merciless you can be." Alastor knew that Charlie's powers were very similar to Lucifer's. However, he always figured that Charlie would always be weaker than Lucifer. However, he could make Charlie far more skilled with her powers and far merciless. You see, Charlie didn't know that Lucifer was her father. She was lied to. She believed that Lucifer destroyed her family and casted her away, and that Alastor was her only hope for revenge and salvation. Little did she know that Lucifer was the only one who ever cared about her truly. Except for Alastor, but he cares about her in a twisted way, of course. As Charlie would then go over to the center, he was strapped by Alastor's magic. As he looked at Charlie and said, "Help me, help me," Charlie would say, "The only help you can receive is a help to end your misery." As Charlie said that, her eyes turned pure red. Horns came out of her head as the entire ground began to shake. As Charlie just made them explode, destroyed them permanently, making sure they can't be reincarnated. As if anyone would have the power to do that, it would be demon royalty. As then Alastor would see her power, and he would be scared of it. He would also feel bad for using her like this, for treating her like a weapon. As Alastor would say, "Good job," she would say, "Thank you." As then she would walk out, "Let's train more." As Charlie wasn't like a normal person, all she did was train, all she did was prepare, all she wanted was revenge. And Alastor realized something. If she ever found out the truth, she can easily take him out. She can easily destroy him. So he knew that for his own survival's sake, she must never find out. As Alastor and Charlie got done training, Charlie would say, "Al, what will we do after we get our revenge?" Alastor paused for a moment. She usually didn't ask this. But then he said, "Well, after that, you'll use your power to rule this place, to rule over everything." This was a lie, of course, but once he was free, he would just leave when Lilith came down. As Charlie said, "Why don't you rule with me? I don't really want any power. I just want to get revenge. Besides, Al, if anyone's smart enough to rule, it'll be you. and I just want to be by your side. As Alastor's heart started to melt, and even though he was a cold-hearted man, the impossible happened, as he felt bad for his actions. As the years trained, Charlie would become more and more heartless, and only care about one person, Alastor, the man who raised her and the man who was helping her get her revenge. Meanwhile, the opposite was happening for Alastor. He wasn't going soft, quote-unquote, but he felt bad for what he did. And he started to care about Charlie more and more. And in fact, honestly, he didn't want to do this anymore, but he didn't have a choice. It was his only way to be free. Every day, Alastor felt worse. He felt worse for doing this to Charlie. He felt worse for turning her into a weapon. While Charlie, on the other hand, felt better and better, and she felt more confident that she can take out Lucifer. As all of the years passed, eventually Charlie would turn 20, and all of her years of intense and strong training would pay off. As it was finally the day where Charlie got her revenge. As she was ready to destroy Lucifer. She was ready to get revenge on her family, without knowing who Lucifer really was. As Lucifer was alone and depressed like normal, suddenly he would hear a knock on the door. As he opened it, it was Charlie. Lucifer didn't know who it was at first, but after looking at her face, he could realize something. Even after all this time, he knew it was his daughter. As Lucifer opened his arms, ready to hug her, suddenly Charlie would attack him, as she would summon a weapon and throw it right at Lucifer. Lucifer would barely be able to dodge in time and say, What are you doing? I'm destroying you. I'm gaining my birthright. I know what you did to my family. Lucifer would say, Did to your family? What are you talking about? As Charlie would go at it with everything she had, Lucifer would barely be able to dodge anything. After all, he didn't want to destroy his daughter, so he is forced to dodge on the back foot, even though Lucifer was the strongest here. He couldn't bring himself to hurt his own daughter, especially after he felt like he failed her. And Charlie was completely ruthless and extremely powerful. She was the second strongest one here. And Lucifer had to keep his guard up if he didn't want to be hurt. He can easily just stop her, but to do that, he would have to hurt her, which he wouldn't do. As Lucifer would say, Charlie, please stop. Charlie, huh? Is that my name? Tch. You know nothing about me. You only know my name because you got it from my family after you destroyed them. That's not true, Charlie. Look at our faces. We're related. Lies. We are not related. I am not related to a scumbag like you. Now get ready to fight. As Lucifer drove out his weapon, he dropped it and said no. Charlie would say, What do you mean no? I said no. I'm not gonna fight my daughter because, Charlie, I am your father. Oh, I am your father. As Lucifer would start to sing, as he looked into Charlie, as he knew he couldn't hurt her, and he knew this was the only way. He had to convince her that they were related. He had to convince her that he loved her through song. As Lucifer would begin to sing a song called Oh, I Am Your Father. As Charlie would see this, something started to click inside of her. As she started to doubt her mission, maybe she was wrong, maybe Alastor was wrong. As she would say, no, my mission is correct. As then suddenly Alastor walked in and said, stop. Alastor felt his heart start to burn, as he knew if he told Charlie, he would cease to exist, because his soul would be erased. But he couldn't do this anymore. He couldn't keep lying to her. He couldn't destroy her entire life. It was against his code to do this in the first place, and it's time he pays for it. As Alastor would look at both of them and say, I lied to you. He is your father. Lilith is the enemy. As suddenly he fell to the ground and began to burn up as his body turned to ash. Charlie began to cry, as even though Alastor lied to her, it was clear that he only lied so he can survive, and that he literally gave up everything. He gave up his own existence just to tell her the truth. As Lucifer would hug her and say, I don't know who that guy was, but he meant a lot to you. And even though he used you, in the end, he gave up his life so you and I can be happy. Charlie would say, who's Lilith? It's your mom, and she's our enemy. As in, Lucifer and Charlie would hug each other and hold each other in a warm embrace, as father and daughter were finally reunited. And nothing would set them apart again, but now they had a new enemy, Lilith, Charlie's own mother. First, daughter versus father, now daughter versus mother. And that's going to leave things off. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you thought of this video down in the comments below. Hope you all enjoyed watching it. I know I enjoyed making it, and thank you all so much for watching my videos. Thank you so much for liking my videos. Thank you so much for sharing my videos. It means the world to me. And I don't know how many more of these videos of what if who raised Charlie I can do. Probably not a lot, since there's not a lot of, fan art of Kid Charlie with people, but, I've been doing stuff. If you don't know how it works, I'll find, like, an image, and I'll, like, add in a new background, and that's what I do. Sometimes I'll do that with 2 different images. That's what I did with the Charlie was raised by Camilla Carmine. So yeah, if you want to know how I do things, it's very simple, very easy. There's this free app for like background and editing and like new thumbnails, which works very well. It works very well. It's free. It can be a little tedious, but it's very good. It's extremely good, and it works like very well. Honestly, that's kind of all you need. You don't need like these expensive thumbnail makers and crap. I was watching one short where it was like, you spend $70 on a thumbnail. I'm like, crap, I make a thumbnail for free. And someone posted like, I bet you're not making any money on YouTube though. I posted like, yeah, but you don't make videos. I'm like pro videos. I'm like, I'm monetized. What the hell do you mean, man? I mean, I'm not like a pro YouTuber, but I'm monetized and stuff, and I get thousands of views, so I don't know what they meant. Anyway, I'm so glad I have an audience like you. I'm so glad I have people who support me and watch me, are always there for me. I love you all so, so much, and I hope you have an amazing, fantastic day. Mwah. All of you are very amazing. Peace out.